part of that response that your body is going through, your body is telling you things that something is not right. Because I have a great mental game. I can tell myself just about anything. Like, no, I'm not nervous. I'm excited. I am very happy to be here. Or
I'm prepared. I'm there someday. Yeah.
I have to have this mindset of calm, cool, and collected when I walk in that door. When I walk through those courtroom doors, I need to look like I've already won. I just need to show them why. And here in this mindset was me saying, actually, your body knows better than you do.
You can't outthink this.
You got it. Yeah. Cannot think.
You got to feel it.
Yeah.
And move through it.
Yeah. There's that book. I can't remember the author. Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah.
And
incredible book.
Yeah. So I ordered that book like right away.
What did you learn about yourself, your body, and your memories of the past that were causing this?
There was a sense of, and it's gonna sound weird, but it was a sense of immediate isolation. Okay, I have the million on my phone. Between me and you, it's just a digit from a number on my phone. That's it. No different than if I just press 1 on a keypad on my calculator on my phone. But that number meant much more significance. And of course, there are a lot of creators that have way more than that. But for somebody who's just been in his car, who doesn't see any of these people, right. I'm in a small town, I'm growing law firm, I'm just doing all I can. And then all of a sudden, I felt like a lot of eyes were on me, and I had nobody to help. Like, there was nobody. I couldn't, if I called my best friend, he'd be like, yeah, man.
He doesn't understand.
Yeah. He's like, oh, that's a bummer. They couldn't. I could tell, hey, what do you think? I don't know.
I'm glad I reached out to you then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good timing.
It really was. I'm telling you, that's why I thank you immensely, because that was just to have that presence.
Yeah.
Is to know that if I need to, I can call, or somebody who's kind of been through that change. And so now
there's probably only 4, maybe 5 people that I can share everything with.
Yeah.
That will actually not judge me, that will relate to it in some way, that maybe has already had some type of experience like that will, have compassion for me, where if I said these things to other people or publicly or whatever it might be, people just won't understand or wouldn't get it. And I'm not saying that...
Or take it wrong.
Or they might take it wrong. And I'm not saying that I have like some unique experience that's greater or better than others. It's just a different unique experience.
Right.
From a different position of life. And it's not a better, worse than, good, bad. It's just a different perspective.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's, there's only a few people that I can really fully just let loose with.
Yeah, but that's smart. I mean, that's biblical. The keep your friends very close and few, and your true ones that they're gonna love you no matter what.
I mean, where I can say all this stuff, the messy, the nasty, the
unfiltered,
the stuff,
hurt, the raw, all of that.
Human beings need that at every stage of life.
Yeah,
whether you're 14 and dealing with stuff in your mind or some weird stuff, or you're 40. We all need those people that we can have those conversations with.
At every stage, at every level, if you don't have that outlet, your body's going to carry it for you.
Absolutely.
Until it can't anymore.
It's going to release in some way.
Until it can. And that's what happened with me, was just that feeling of big time isolation. There were more brands and like people email you and call you, and you need to go with this. Yes, and we see this, and you ought to do it. And so you're going, wait, man, look, I got to get chicken nuggets in the oven right now. You know what I mean? Like, can you please?
My kid's crying over here. Let me just deal with this.
Yeah, like I get home, it's mayhem, it's bath time. It's there's no team of anything beyond the guy in the car yet. But it was definitely that feeling of, I felt like my life was just like starting to just expand in a very surreal way that my body felt, despite what my brain was telling it.
What did you realize about yourself from those 8 days of panic attacks that you were holding on to, that you were resisting, or that you were not ready for yet?
It was a sense of, don't let them down. Like that was
what the number?
The
number of people watching or following.
Yeah, well, because they'll comment, they message, they say incredibly nice, heartfelt things. I still get to read them, and they're just the kindest things that you go, I do not deserve to read what I just.
Wow.
I mean, you just feel like an immediate sense of humility, and
feel like an imposter or something.
Not so much an imposter of don't let these people down, because they really do depend on that advice for whatever reason.
That daily message you give them.
They've chosen the guy in the car, in the driver's seat. They want to hear what his thoughts are on X, Y, and Z, which I love. I truly do love it. And I hope I do it for the rest of my life. But it is in that moment, in the very first beginning of me saying, okay, this is happening. Like I guess this is happening. That was a immediate sense of settling into that expectation. I also learned that I was getting a bad habit of holding my breath when I was working or doing things.
So you weren't breathing, so your body was like...
Yeah, and so
I know that feeling, man.
Yeah, so I was reading, and that part of that panic attack is the same sensation you get when your body's drowning. Is because I'm holding my breath, depriving myself of oxygen, and my body is like kicking in. Yeah, you got it.
It needs more oxygen.
You got it. And so without me just thinking in the day, I was catching myself more and more holding my breath.
Or shallow breathing. Or
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Barely breathing.
Like, of course I'm alive, but it's like I'm holding it more than I'm letting it out, and I'm not fully utilizing my body, which tells me that there's that tension, that like tightness. Yeah, so once I realized that I was holding my breath, that's what taught me of like, okay, well, let's fix that.
Right.
Because once I started fixing that, much, much, much better. Yeah.
There's something I've learned over the years about, and I'm curious how you approach this. And I don't always get it right, and it doesn't always work for me, but a psychological strategy. When someone is, quote unquote, attacking me, or saying nasty things about me that I don't believe are true, or maybe it's just I don't like their way they're saying it, and I don't want it to penetrate my heart and my soul, and be reactive and defensive and rigid and frustrated and all these things.
When the brow goes like this.
Yeah, exactly. One of the psychological or therapeutic strategies that I've learned is to imagine either a field, an energetic field around me that I can see it, but then it bounces off.
Okay.
The words, the intention, the energy, it comes and then boink, it just goes around me and it, like water off a duck.
I feel like there's a Star Wars reference, but yes,
yeah,
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Or what I'll do is I will separate the ego from the self, and I'll have the ego over here next to me psychologically.
Yeah.
An image of it, the ego of me here.
Yeah.
I'll just say, oh, they're just speaking to the ego.
Yeah, the detachment.
They're just, they're speaking over here.
Right.
They're not actually speaking to me.
Yeah.
They might be looking at me, but it's just redirecting right here.
Right.
And, oh, this doesn't affect me.
Yeah, they're talking to that guy.
Yeah. And I saw, I think it was Selma Hayek one time talk about this. She was giving an example somewhere online about how, if someone spoke to you really poorly in Spanish and you don't speak Spanish, you're not going to get defensive.
Right.
You're just going to be like, well, okay, I have no clue what this crazy person's saying to me. Okay, so just act like it's a different language.
Right.
There's just different ways of like separating yourself from the hurt,
I like that too.
or the potential pain.
Yes.
What have you learned to support yourself psychologically and emotionally and spiritually when this feeling of panic, stress comes your way, or when potential attacks come your way emotionally?
So very similar to yours, in my mind, I visually have a trash can next to me.
Oh, okay.
All right. And I can see it. It's one of those big, huge gallon ones.
Yeah.
That's the black, shiny. It's,
Open it up.
You got it. Yeah. And I see what they're saying is just a shoot. So I can see the words coming, and I'm sifting because the issue they're telling me is not the real issue. And so if I hear something that's offensive, that's not nice, that's trash. In my mind, I grab it with my right hand, lift up, and throw it.
Wow.
Like that's
cool.
what I'll do with my thoughts. And I'm sifting to where if they might have led with something that was snarky, which our inclination is to grab onto that and send it back to it. Yeah, send it back and be like, oh, I got a good one coming. Instead, you got it. Instead, if I throw that one away, if I just trash it, and then I found the one word that they said at the very end, towards the end, and that was the one word. And then if I focus on that word, then it all starts to kind of crumble. But I just imagine a trash can.
Wow, it's interesting. Now, how do you communicate your worth when someone is being offensive or adding a little digs underneath their language? Maybe they're trying to get a message across, and they're frustrated, so they're saying a few things that would be offensive to you potentially, or maybe hurt you, or maybe kind of put you beneath.
Yeah.
How do you create a boundary consciously with them so that they don't keep doing that in the future, where it's letting them know, hey, this type of communication doesn't really work for me, it's not okay, and owning your worth.
Yeah.
While also being able to throw it away at the same time and not let it get to you? Like, how do you navigate that so that that doesn't continue to happen in friendships or in relationships or in career,
right,
where that doesn't continue? Like, I understand we can do it once or twice or 3 times, but if someone's always doing that to us,
right,
how do we create that boundary and consciously communicate our worth?
Depending on the context of who that person is, who they are in your life. So some people you just can't get away from. I mean, or family members, what have you. But it's a balance of your value and then what we're going to just call as what I'm interested in. So if somebody were going to say something that's offensive in a way, and they are pushing me, it's a much more powerful move, a very dominant, assertive move to say, I'm not interested in returning what you just gave.
Oh, wow. It's a power move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And see,
so if I say, Jefferson, it was pretty idiotic what you did the other day to me, and I just didn't,
yeah,
you just looked like an idiot. But what I really want to do is moving forward, I want us to go do this thing instead.
Right.
Or whatever. I'm just saying
something.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
How would you respond to something like that?
So if somebody, what you kind of did was you like hit it into something else that they did. So what I would first do is call that out. I hear 2 points. Yeah, and so I'm like, I'm not going to skip that. So
okay.
I'll say,
so you want to just throw the trash away right away.
You got it.
You address it.
Well, because they're trying to hide the trash and the good.
Yeah.
And so my response is, well, I see 2 different things. So that first point, I don't have an interest in responding to whatever, or I'm going to say, well, maybe I did look like an idiot, but I'm not going to be holding on to whatever message you're trying to send to me. But it's much more a dominant move to say, I have no interest in returning what you're sending.
Right. I have no interest in calling you what I saw yesterday you do, or something like that.
You got it. But if you use the phrase, I have no interest in talking about your opinion of my performance.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, it's obviously that's not something you want to start off with, because that could sound defensive, that could sound issues. But the point of it is, when you say I have no interest, you're letting them know, like, I don't have it's like you're saying that as you're doing the trash can thing. I really don't have an interest in, this kind of food. It's not great for me. Doesn't really settle well with me. But what does taste good is what you said, about X, Y, and Z. And so you kind of imagine those words as part of, let's say it's kind of, your diet. Sorry, I'm a little lactose intolerant, but
right.
So let's skip the milk and talk about something else.
What are the 3 power moves in conversations that really set you up for success in any conversation?
Number 1 is silence. Just nothing. So if somebody were to say something that's snarky, the best move is to say nothing. You just kind of sit back, and you look around, or you look up, or you look off. I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they can't take it.
Really?
They can't take that silence, because then it's spread out. You just exposed, instead of you covering it up with something else that says, excuse me, what did you say? You're just leaving it open. Can you like, that really was that the best foot you're gonna put out right now?
Okay.
That one? That's the one we're gonna choose. And if you just let that silence sit there, oftentimes, and you've probably heard this, they go, I shouldn't have said that. You gotta give them that chance.
That's number one.
Yeah, number one is you gotta give them the chance of that silence. Number two, acknowledge that it could be, without acknowledging that it is. And you say
an example
of saying, well, maybe so, maybe you're right.
And not say you're right, but maybe you are.
Maybe you're right. But it's that piece of humility that says, yeah, well, maybe you're right. I had a guy once who said, I was deposing him, and all you lawyers, worst things that ever happened to America kind of talk. And I said, well, maybe you're right, but today's just going to be a conversation between us. Is it okay if you're just talking to Jefferson? And he said, yeah, I can do that.
Wow.
And so it's that ability to just say, well, maybe so, but I could have gotten really defensive with him. I could have chosen to taken that personally instead of just dropped it. The other power move is to hold off on the timing. So when you are mad, that's generally not the best time to do it. When you know you've done something wrong and you want somebody to be mad at you, to like, fight me, please. Like, I know I've done something wrong. Let's have this out. We'll talk about this. You want to talk about this at noon?
Right.
All right. Let's talk about it.
Let's put it in the calendar for tomorrow.
You got it. Let's. Oh, well, I'm okay. And it's. Well, I'm glad you said that. Well, then, I don't really have my thoughts together on that, but why don't we calendar to talk about that at noon tomorrow? What do you think? Now they're like, oh my God, like I just said something that I shouldn't have said. But that's a much better way of handling it, because at that point you have not lost any confidence.
Right.
You have not lost your credibility, and you've maintained that you're the one in control at all times. And I'm telling you, the key is just starting with your breath and choosing to be quiet.
Right.
And if you were to say something to me, and I responded right away, like if you were to say, I don't know, do you enjoy matcha tea? I go, no. Versus me thinking,
no.
Like there's just a different connotation to it.
Sure.
when you think about it. And sometimes when we have that pressure on, there's that need to overpromise, overdo, and you end up, what you say, trying to look cute, and you overextend yourself.
Yeah.
And this time I wasn't going to do that. So I started to write things on the top of my yellow notepad.